back.
What up?
The the bag. Tell them who you are, man.
PTB coming from the PRC. Some people
Yeah,
call me Mr. P from the 313, but my government name, shout out to my
yeah.
father. I am Robert Edward Patterson II. Oh,
Shouts to
sir.
nice. And this, I am Adrian Black, and this is the Pass the Bag podcast.
Fast Bag Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen and others, it's not enough for you to get the bag.
You gotta know how to keep that bag.
And if you want to take care of the bag, the number one rule is you got to share the bag.
Share that bag. Now, kindly pass the bag.
Let's
Man, so good to
carry
see you
that bag.
always.
Let's pass it back and
And,
forth, baby. It's beautiful to see you,
we
sir.
get inside the bag for this next bag, man. We got to get
Mm,
inside the bag. Inside.
let's go. Way
Don't
in.
you look at the outside of the bag, people always want to talk about the outside of the bag. What color is the bag? What
Mm-hmm.
material is the bag made of? What,
Mm-hmm.
these colored bags are better than these colored bags. Plastic bags are better than paper bags. Paper bags are better than reusable bags are better than plastic bags. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. We want to talk about what's inside the bag, the goods. That's what we're going for. The goods. Getting
Let's get into
inside,
the good.
getting
Get into
inside to
the
the
good.
good. There are some people like Mr. P and I that can be naturally expressive, can know how to work a room, know how to work a party. But naturally, that is not naturally who we are. Naturally,
Mm.
we're a small group, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, getting to know people, working the magic, playing jazz. That's naturally who we are. That's our personality. We are ambiverts, I would say. I'm an ambivert for sure. But Mr. Pete, I think you would lean more to the introvert side. So we getting inside the bag, and we're gonna talk about introvert, extrovert, but specifically the 4 different types of introverts, because I didn't even know that existed. Did you know that, sir?
Well, sir, since we're getting inside of the bag, I will tell you that I knew that there were different types of introverts, but I didn't know how many the psych community had classified and had agreed on. I didn't know that it was this magic number of 4, and I didn't know the types of details around these different types of introverts that I have since learned. Now, it is definitely true. There are times where I have said to myself, I feel like I'm an ambivert, but there's been way less times. And most of the time, I feel like I classify as, we would say I'm an introvert who extroverts very well, um,
Right.
which is okay. That's, that's allowed. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I rather enjoy my introspective nature. I enjoy the life of an introvert. It has served me well, continues to serve me well. Maybe there was a hot moment in my youth where I attempted to mimic extroversion, or may have run into, how to win friends and influence people, or other types of philosophies where they tell you that extroversion is the
It's
key
the
to
way.
all prosperity.
Right.
But no, in the end, it didn't take me very long to find out that I am an introvert. And it also didn't take me very long to figure out that there are a lot of social hacks that seem inherent to, like the voices that only I can hear, or the guys that only I'm following, or, those few people who are part of the same tribe. I love it. I love the life of an introvert. I wouldn't change it for the world.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the different types. And audience, comment below if you're on YouTube and you're seeing this. Please comment below and let us know which type of, if you're an introvert, which type of introvert you are, or if you're an ambivert, if you're a little bit of both, or if you're an extrovert. Let us know. Especially if you're an extrovert, I'm sure I don't have to tell you to let us know. You're already gonna do it.
That's right. That's
Uh,
right.
if you're an introvert, please tell us which one of these you fall into. So social introverts. These are introverts that prefer tiny gatherings, tiny intimate gatherings. They'll happily go on a solo date or a solo vacation. They need alone time to recharge, especially if they're in a relationship. They need their alone time, and they will accept social invitations, but they not even gonna show up. Like they don't even plan to show up. Like they'll be like, yeah, yeah, never. Yeah, never come. Let's see. I definitely prefer I have a little bit of this. I prefer tiny meet gatherings. I'm not really a solo vacation person. I've never really been on solo vacation. I moved to China I didn't even move to China by myself. My ex-girlfriend too, so not a solo vacation person. I do need my alone time. I have to recharge. My wife knows that. And if I accept the social invitation, I feel really bad if I don't show up. So I'm not necessarily the type to accept the invitation and not show up because I feel really bad. I feel horrible. What about you?
There are many of those boxes that for me, check, 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 check. I enjoy small gatherings much more than large gatherings, and I am quick to exercise my out option when going into a space where there are lots of people who I don't know. You have probably heard me before
I've seen you
talk
do it
about.
times. Like we be somewhere. Obviously, I'm working or something. We be at a gig.
Right,
I'm playing.
right.
Next thing you know, I look up and you're gone. Like they don't even attempt to say goodbye. Like so, but I
Some
understand.
people.
We have it like that. Well, solo vacation, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I before I even knew that solo vacationing, here's the thing, to hear someone talk about it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's an introverted type of thing. But I never even considered that to me, this is something that everyone,
Right.
normal, right? Go on solo vacation or solo adventures or.
I give you one of my favorite introvert things that I used to do a lot. I don't do anymore. Go to the movies by myself. I used to go to the movies by myself all the time because it's like I want to see this movie. Like I'm not necessarily waiting, or I'm not gonna pay just to take this girl that I don't even really want to see it. Like I'm not
Sure.
about to pay my money. I'm just go by myself
She
during the
wants
matinee.
she wants to hang out. She wants to hang out with you and get to know you, and then you pay to go someplace and sit with her for 2 hours and not talk with her, not communicate,
Number one, okay,
pay attention to something else.
side bag. Let's get a side bag real quick. Going to the movies, is that a real date? Yes or
It's
no?
it's the bag inside of the bag. So here's the thing: going to the movies is not a real date
Man.
unless you are there with another cinema lover and you guys are on the same level about the experience. That's it.
Okay. So if you're both into Marvel and you go see
Excuse me,
Shang-Chi,
hold on. It's not the only way, but that's an ideal. Going to the date is an ideal date for people who are cinema lovers. They're going to talk about what cinema means to them beforehand. They're going to have the experience, and then they're going to talk about it afterward, like that.
okay, cool. All right. I agree with that. Now, cinema lovers, movie lovers, yes. But first date, no. I mean, unless you're both cinema lovers, movie lovers. Because first date, like you don't even get to talk in the movie. Now, kinky date,
If
kinky date,
you're
first
looking
date,
for, yeah, that's right. Talk that talk. Looking
kinky
for that
date,
empty theater,
empty
that
theaters,
two
hand-eye
2:30
coordination.
p.m. on a Tuesday when everybody's at work and it's only
Right.
6 people inside of that movie
Oh,
that is
no.
grossing, 4 million
Oh,
over the last 4 weeks.
even on the weekend, you just go to the movie that's been showing like for a month now. Like
The one
showing this
nobody
movie.
else is saying.
And they didn't already seen it. Everybody else done already seen it. Empty theater.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. Thank you. That's a great bag with the thinking. The thinking introvert. Thinking introvert. The thinking introvert is more introspective than the average person, than the average introvert. They will lean towards their mental haven. Like they study, they read a lot, researching, maybe playing music, other creative stuff. They're generally not reactive. They'll usually pause and think before they respond to a question or even like a stimulus, whatever that is. And they're super self-aware. So this is a thinking introvert. Would you say you're a thinking introvert, sir?
More than any other type.
Right. I get
Absolutely.
a lot.
Absolutely.
I definitely very introspective, especially when it comes about my stuff. Like my stuff, I'm always thinking about my stuff. I don't share my stuff with a lot of people. That's why we have this podcast to share our lives with you all. But yeah, on the average day, I don't share my stuff with people. Like I know people that I know all of their stuff. Literally, they share everything with me, like every day. And so I'm not one of those people. Thinking introvert, you're not one of those people. You're not I can be reactive though, because I'm sensitive. Would you say you're not reactive? Because I don't know how not reactive you are.
I have my triggers.
Right.
That
Exactly.
you know
That's the best.
that they are what they are. The thing is that I would say at this point that I'm pretty excellent with managing my triggers. So whereas somebody else may not see that they are there, I know they're there. I know this experience that I'm having. I would say at this point I am pretty non-reactive. Active. True story. I was I don't know how many days ago. I was at the Mambo. They were having comedy night, and I'm gonna catch this comedy at Mambo, and I'm sitting down, and I'm against the wall, and there are many people next to me, and they all have their friends, and I can't remember what it was, but I know that there was a point where someone, I had my headphones on, I was writing, uh, and someone goes to say something to me, and when they went to say the thing with me, I'm pretty sure it was sort of like a hook, the social invite, whatever. I had like my face was just, it was so non-reactive, and I could feel the other person's experience of like, this person is like very non-reactive, but it was the best thing for me, at the time, where it's like, I'm not here for that. There was a couple of friends who were gonna come. One gal actually did come, who I knew, and catch the show, so I was saving the seat for her. And we were just like, okay, so I'm just there. I'm not really here to talk with you guys. I don't know you guys. I'm not trying to know you guys. And there was one gal, the gal who was sitting across from me, who she tried a couple of different times to kind of get a rise out of me, or to, something like that. And I just, just stone faced it. And, that's just for what I felt like was best for me at the time. I wasn't there for that. I was there to, watch the show, listen to the show, observe the people.
Right. Let's get into the next. Speaking of that, let's get into the next one. Thank you for sharing, sir. The
Oh, yeah,
anxious
thank you.
introvert. The anxious introvert typically appears at least mildly nervous in most situations. They may seem highly avoidant and rude, and they'll avoid social interactions at all costs. Uh, I can be this.
So
I can be the anxious, awkward introvert sometimes too.
I'm so happy that we get to talk about this, even if it's just we get to examine this bag just for one moment. I hope that all of the introverts will do like the extroverts, and that they'll tune in, and all the extroverts will also contact us and leave some messages on IG or on YouTube, and they'll, maybe the extroverts say weird thing about the introverts. But
Maybe that
I've seen you
anxious
be a no,
introvert.
I've seen you be an anxious introvert for sure. I've
Yeah,
seen you
bro.
be an anxious introvert.
I
Which one
feel
of these, which are so far, which one are you out of the three? Which one are you identifying with the most so far? Social
thinking,
thinking,
thinking
anxious.
for sure.
Okay.
I think because
Okay.
I'm self-aware, it makes me anxious.
Okay.
So because I'm thinking, sometimes it makes me anxious. I think being an anxious introvert is as a result of being a thinking introvert. Uh,
What's been the largest reward for you so far that you can feel comfortable sharing with people about being a thinking introvert? Of the three so far, because you could be the last one.
just the self-awareness too. Like I mean, self-awareness for me is obviously for
Re-
me.
re-
It's
rewarding,
just
rewarding.
it's rewarding. Yeah, it's just to know what I'm capable of and what my brand is and what's on brand for me and what I just don't want to deal with. Like what environments I don't want to be in. And I think that's when it gets awkward. It's because like, oh, this environment just changed really quick. I was in an environment where I felt comfortable. And now because of me or because of a thought or because of how I perceive something, I am no longer comfortable in this environment. Now I'm anxious. Okay, shit. Let me get up out of here. And that's usually how it happens. It usually goes just like that. Because I wouldn't even put myself in an environment that I didn't feel comfortable in the very beginning. So it must have been an environment where I was like, okay, I'm comfortable. No. I'm not comfortable anymore. I'm uncomfortable now. I'm anxious.
So I'm looking at the points here that you were reading, and so typically appear at least mildly nervous in most situations, may appear highly avoidant and rude. And you said will avoid social interactions at all costs. Which one of those are you identifying with the
Of
most?
those
For
three,
me, it's probably of those three.
of
For me,
appearing avoidant and avoiding social interactions. Go ahead.
if I had to pick one, I would say that it's probably neck and neck between appearing. I would say highly avoidant and rude. SJ, I have an SJ story, and I'm not sure if SJ told the story in front of you, but SJ always told me the story about his first time us meeting. Because the first time that we met, he would tell me about it, and I didn't remember it. He had to tell me a few times. The first time that we met was different than the first time that we actually really spoke to one another. And he just said to me, he said, okay, I introduced myself, or I said, what's up? And he goes, but he said, you just weren't even having it. He was like, he said he had to say to himself, his inner voice, okay, this person, like, not today. This person is not in a social space right now. It doesn't matter what you attempt to what way you attempt to approach it. That story was always very funny for me. He said we were at Brew, and someone introduced, or he introduced himself, and it's true. I don't even remember meeting him. He had to tell me over and over again for me to like place it. So yeah, I appeared rude and highly avoidant the first time SJ and I met. And as you know, he and I now are, super good. So.
All right. Yeah, I could appear rude too. Out of those three, I would, yeah. Or I just avoid it. I'll avoid it. I'm a avoided person.
I've seen you being more avoidant than rude. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen you attempting to avoid being rude and being rude, which is a great irony.
Being
I've
rude
seen
because
that.
I was attempting
Yeah,
to not
absolutely.
that's what I
In
was
the midst. Yes.
I was
Yes.
attempting not to show my ass, and therefore I'm
Yes.
rude because I was just trying to be a nice person and not say anything. Restrained introvert. So the restrained introvert,
Strange.
they move at a slower, methodical pace. They intend to enjoy predictable activities. They are often unemotional. Maybe this I might fall. I identify with some elements of all of them, and then other parts like not at all. Like for often
Okay.
unemotional is definitely not something I would use to describe myself.
Okay.
But
So
that's
so
that
so
that that would be, I guess, in a smaller environment I would definitely be unemotional, but like in public I wouldn't be emotional. So I don't know. Go ahead.
well, I wonder about like if you personally had to order them just right now, the way that you identify with those four, you would put unrestrained at number 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Restrained at number 4.
Excuse me, restrained, right? Not
No,
unrestrained.
then the first two I love, like moving at a slower, more methodical pace. I love that. Love going at my own pace.
Mm,
Love hate rushing. Hate rushing. Don't hate a lot of things, but I hate rushing. It's one thing I can
okay.
say I don't like at all. And enjoy predictable activities. Yes, if it's predictable,
Yes.
I know how this is gonna start. I know what time it's gonna finish. I know what time I'm gonna get home. I know when I'm gonna take my pee break, if I'm drinking or not. Like I love all those. I like, yeah, like predictability. I love it.
It's very feline. It's a very feline type of thing, that predictability.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like I would say I would be thinking social, anxious, restrained. Maybe a tie between anxious and restrained at the bottom. At one point, when my personal development was not so developed, and I was, still doing a lot of healing,
Yeah.
from certain traumas and things like that. I would say that there was a time when anxious, real dominant. Yeah, I can see that it's definitely changed. But it's funny to talk about this because, yeah, I mean, I would say I would definitely, I feel comfortable saying that I would observe you as an ambivert in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And in
for sure.
those, I have very specific memories of you in like introvert mode. Uh, so I think it's great. I'm hoping that there'll come a point in time where, you know, these conversations about different types of introversion or even ambiversion are, you know, a lot more common knowledge. I feel like um, the sort of lack of this narrative, at least in a lot of that I have, or coming up in different ways. I feel like, you know, I have definitely experienced where it's like, because you're not an extrovert, it gets weaponized against you. And you find yourself
Mm.
having to not get drawn into a game where someone wants to play the game, where you're feeling insecure about who you are, and then you're defending that. You know, that was a game that I once would play in certain ways, and now I'm to the point where I don't feel the need to answer anyone's questions or you know, meet anyone's expectations or fall
And
into
that
anyone's narratives.
as you understand more about, you know, where you fall on the spectrum, you understand where your weaknesses are and where you can, you know, delegate, or where you can look for, you know, help and assistance. Like, I think that's where these tools can be so useful, because they give you another perspective. It's like, okay, this is who I am, and this is the sector I want to work in. We need to be able to do this thing. Okay, well, I need to outsource that. I need to find somebody who can do that. Like for me, like sitting down and doing a music, editing a video, for example, it's not something I'm good at. You know, I'm an introvert and I can sit down and study all day. But sitting
Mm.
down, like just write, I could sit down and write an article, you know, or write a song, you know, forever. But it usually doesn't take me forever. But if I'm sitting down to like edit a video or do some coding or something like that, like make a website, like some more like technical like aspects, and I got to sit down and like do it for hours, I can't. You know, I last maybe 30 to 60 minutes at best. You know, I think it's all about finding where your strengths are, and figuring out ways to take advantage of that, and then figure out ways to share that bag.
I couldn't agree more. When you talk about sharing the bag, when you talk about knowing oneself, when you talk about taking advantage of knowing oneself and building things for you that work, and especially about making sure that you play to your strengths and away
Right.
from your weaknesses. I know that there are many people out there who, hopefully, at least my hope is that of the many people out there who are introverts who may suffer from the lack of narrative around introversion, the lack of dynamicism, the lack of acceptance, or introversion being a quality that is considered, you know, more desirable or associated with success or associated with fill in the blank. I'm hopeful that, you know, that this bag is one that they can reach into. Maybe, you know, throw a couple gold nuggets in, maybe pull a couple gold nuggets out of here
Right.
on Pass the Bag podcast. Let us know what you all think
Let us
out
know
there,
what
all
you
you
think.
beautiful
Let us
listeners.
know who you are. Let us know where you at. And because it's not enough to get the bag.
You gotta know how to keep back.
And if you want to take care of the bag, you got to share the bag.
Thank you very much for passing this bag with us.
Now, kindly pass the bag. We'll see you soon.